Oh boy, this is what you live for.
Or die for.
What kills you?
Yeah.
What kills you? One of the two. Baby. What is, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show.
Let's go.
Live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota Store. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Boys, sports, they're the best, they're the worst, and sometimes they mix those things up into one game. One game that can decide your entire mood for, I don't know, a year.
Is that presupposing we only live for one more year?
That is what that is presupposing. Game 7, man. Game 7, everything on the line. Absolutely going to be a game we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. We're going to talk about the concerns. We're going to talk about reason for optimism. We're going to provide all the game notes as well as the bets for the game. To help me out, Harrison Lynn.
Man, what a vibe in the bar right now. There's a nervousness. There's a quiet confidence also.
Okay, all right.
There's that same vibe on this set, I feel like, too. So
We all came in and did our own thing.
there hasn't been much talking between us before the show.
We're locking in.
We've
We've all
locked
been
in,
pretty
baby.
locked in.
It really is, man. It's so funny, sports, when they elevate to this level where it
Yeah.
just feels... It feels almost spiritual in a way, you know,
Yeah.
like everything is heightened. D-Line knows what I'm talking about.
I do. A lot on the line here, fellas. We've said a lot of things over the last year. And a lot of these things will probably find their way back towards us should it go in the wrong way. But they might not. They might not.
Or we'll have a great time tonight if they get the win.
Well, and we'll start saying a lot more things,
Start talking
baby.
even more. I know it's crazy, but it does feel like even the championship. This feels like the toughest game we're going to see. Over there, Superstar Dev.
There's only one thing I want today, and that's to fucking stay on parade.
Yeah.
It's time to stay on parade.
Dev. That's all I
That's
want.
all I want to do. This is the day. This is our time. This is the moment.
Let's go.
Let's live up to it, baby.
Let's absolutely live up to it. The Nuggets are hosting the Timberwolves. 7-game series goes to Game 7. Lots of blowouts in this one, some twists and turns. Denver down 0-2, then they win 3 in a row. They have all the momentum, but then they get blown out in Game 6. So it all comes down to this one. What are the game notes here, Wind?
Well, Mike Malone, he wants to stay on parade as well.
Hell yeah.
He came to the podium for his pregame presser wearing a Grateful Dead 2023 Nuggets championship sweatshirt.
What does this mean?
He means he's an old guy.
Maybe like he reminded the Nuggets
Yep.
we're the effing champions after game 2. Let's play like it. He's reminding us as well that they're the reigning champions.
What I think that this means is, like, we have nothing to be afraid of. We have nothing to be, scared. We've already been at this spot. Act like you've been here.
Yup.
If your leader, if your guy backs you up like that and says, hey, this is what we're going to do, I think it just gets a little bit more calmness. Because if he's going to do it, I'm ready to do it.
I wore this hat for one specific reason. It's got the championship patch ironed on the side with almost no care. Thanks you to Fanatics. But we're going to stay on parade, baby.
Shout out.
We're going to stay on parade.
I will say that to me, the only chill thing about Michael Malone is that he likes the Grateful Dead. I think everything else about him is extremely intense
Yeah.
and high strung. So to me, this is almost like I got to put on my calm cloak today. Stay calm because I know I'm going to be intense later on. You didn't like that?
It's possible. The timeline has been flooded with Grateful Dead references because they're playing at the Sphere. And
That's true,
every time
right.
I'm like, man, that looks awesome. Then I click on it and I hear the music. I'm like, oof, woof.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth, sir. You watch your mouth. I'll stick up for the deadheads out there.
Hell yeah.
Michael Malone says he's expecting a lot of double teams again from the Timberwolves like they did in Game 6. He said, look, let them double team. We just got to step in and shoot with confidence, make it happen, make a play happen that way. So the Nuggets are expecting a similar defensive game plan from Minnesota tonight. And Malone also said, look, this is Game 7. There's a good chance that this game goes down to the wire. Maybe, maybe not, actually, because this is one of the strangest series I've ever been a part of. Only Game 1 has been close with 3 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
And then also from Michael Malone, he said, look, you guys have heard me always say defense, defense, defense in the playoffs. This series is actually about our offense. Our offense is the beginning of our defense. If we can't get our offense going tonight, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
And you can really say that's been the case in the Nuggets' 3 losses in this series.
Game 6, I think, was especially that. I think it's been true all series, but Game 6, man, there were so many terrible offensive possessions in that stretch.
Right.
And then it was just leakouts and like fast, them playing fast and comfortable. So, you know what? We'll see what the team has offensively tonight.
Yeah. And, my final note, I don't know if you guys saw Nikola Jokic walk into the arena tonight. Kale, do you have that tweet I sent you? You all remember the expression on his face when he stood stoically on the sideline during the fourth quarter of Game 6.
Oh, yes.
I don't think this man has smiled in 3 days. Look at his expression in these 2 pictures.
The exact same?
He hasn't smiled in 3 days.
Are you able to zoom, Kale? Oh, there it is. Yeah. I think you're right. That's an intensity to him.
I love it.
That's what I got for game.
But that's the energy we all walked into. Honestly, I feel like that was my face as I walked in here today.
That was me scrolling Twitter.
Yeah, let's scroll at Twitter last night.
That was me watching episodes of Bridgerton.
Yeah, filled my bird feeder. I look just like that. Look, man, that's the energy for tonight. Honestly,
Dude.
That's the energy. I don't think either team. Sometimes you get in a Game 7, like the Pacers just beat the Knicks. I think the Pacers had carefree energy. They're ahead of schedule, like all the stuff. They're on the road. I don't think either team has that energy tonight. I think both teams feel like this is a golden opportunity.
Yes.
And there's no one there's no moral victory tonight for either team. Whoever loses, it will be crushing.
Yeah.
That's true. And if you yourself find that you're feeling a way that you are uncomfortable with, you don't recognize, this is the first elimination game the Nuggets have faced in 2 years.
Yeah.
We faced 0 elimination games last year.
Right.
And so we have to all sort of come to terms with our own basketball existentialism.
Right.
It can all be taken from us very easily. And the Nuggets, I love to see that the Nuggets are reflecting this feeling as well. And I will say, just watching Jokic warm up, dude, he definitely got some sun, man.
Yeah.
He had a pool day.
Pool day?
No.
My
Pool
man
day.
had a pool day. So
Pool day.
I'm feeling very
Just not
confident.
smiling once through a whole pool day.
Just on a floaty, like
Yeah.
Just the whole time.
just swatting any shot that Onyana puts up.
Oh, man, this is going to be intense. It's going to be incredible. Real quick, presenting sponsors, forgot to get to them at the top. Bet365, Never Ordinary. Later on, we'll have all those bets. Also, Miller time right now. Miller Lights on the set. Miller Lights in the refrigerator. You know what? If the Nuggets win tonight, might shotgun a Miller Light on the postgame show.
Oh, dude, if the Nuggets win tonight, we're gonna do the first 4-man shotgun. We poke 4 little holes and then we
Should I drink the bacon?
here.
we treat it like like a hummingbird feeder.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't care. I'll do it. That's how I feel right now. I'll do it.
The internet
That's what
needs
it
that.
takes. Do we think it's a close game?
Have we seen them? We haven't seen them before, right?
Close games?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even know what
since
that
is.
game
I know, it's
one.
game 7,
It feels
though.
like. I think we get a close game. I think we see both teams are going to be locked in.
Yep.
Both teams are going to have to try to find adjustments and see it early on. So I do think we're going to see a slow-paced game. But everybody, given their all. So I don't think that this is going to be a blowout type of games. If it's close, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
That makes me happy. You have an experienced team that's been there before. That's what I would want.
Will we see a shot hit the side of the backboard tonight?
Yes.
Will we see an air ball?
Yes.
Well, what else could we see here that would indicate nerves?
Needless turnovers, throwing the ball away.
Will we
Will-
see anything thrown on the court?
Early Malone.
Hopefully not.
Rage yeah.
timeout.
How about this one? Will we see a quarter with less than 40 combined points?
Definitely.
Probably the fourth quarter.
Definitely. These things historically, although this wasn't the case in the New York game earlier, but historically, games where both sides are feeling the tension are very hotly contested and very low scoring. We saw it in the finals. And I imagine that the fouls won't be called very plentifully. So I expect this to go a lot like the Lakers closeout game from last year, where it came right down to it. The Nuggets won by 2 points. They escaped by the skin of their teeth, and we all get out of here and we feel good, but we need some time off where no one talks to us.
I would love to take Monday off. It would be a dream come
Jesus
true to be
Christ,
able to
no.
just like relax.
Dude,
a
I've
little
literally
bit.
been asleep since you saw me last.
Let's go to the segment here. Who's going to eat tonight? Presented by Circle K Inner City Rewards. Not around the association just yet, Kel. Inner Circle Rewards. Who's going to eat? I'll start over here today. Win, I'll let you go first.
And I'll start with Nikola Jokic. Everything that we've seen happen from the end of Game 6 through now leads me to believe that Nikola Jokic is about to play an unbelievable basketball game.
Yup.
Like every data point along the way, from how he looked at the end of Game 6 to just his demeanor over the last couple of days, everything is lining up, it feels like, for just an absolutely monster Nikola Jokic game. It's at the point now where it would be pretty stunning, I think, if he wasn't excellent in this game. If he did not play a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 game, I'd be pretty shocked based on his history in these big moments. And then, like I said, everything leading up to it. So, yeah, Minnesota's going to throw a lot of double teams his way. The Nuggets will have to make shots. But I've got to think that in his mind, he's going to play aggressive enough to where a lot of times those double teams aren't going to matter.
There was an interesting line from Michael Malone at practice on would have been Saturday, where I actually asked him, does Jokic need to be aggressive against double teams? We always trust him to make the right play, but are there times? And he said, I always trust him. Nikola knows what he's doing out there. But Karl Anthony Towns had a lot of success splitting the double team in Game 6. And I just thought it was such an interesting, all right, okay, that feels, he could have said sometimes you got it, but he's like, yeah, well, Towns did it in Game 6 and it really helped them. I was like, all right. Message sent, I felt like, a little bit.
Yeah, at least guiding him in the correct location. I'm going to let him do whatever he wants, but if he wants to try to score
Yeah, if
two
he
guys
wants to.
and make it super easy for him and the rest of the team to secure a W, that's what I would do.
Yep, I love it, man.
It's guided.
We
It's
all
guided.
know that type of motivation. D-Line, I'll let you go next. Who's going to eat?
Okay.
Oh, man.
I think
The consternation is not...
Michael Porter Jr. is going to eat tonight.
Woo! Wow!
I think Michael Porter Jr. also got some sun. I think Michael Porter Jr. has played 2 miserable games leading into this one. But I just think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him there tonight. And I think he breaks through. I think he hits, I don't think he scores 20 plus, but I think he hits a big 3. I think we get a Mike moment. I just think that he's going to be somebody that we look at when this is all said and done as man, Mike did his thing.
Yeah, all right. What do you think, Dev?
I'm going to go with KCP.
Yeah, I was thinking KCP too.
KCP, he has to be the guy. I really do. I like this couch.
It is
I
a good
like
couch.
the idea that all of the attention is going to be on Jamal. All of the attention is going to be on Jokic and sending that double team. And the 2 guys that they have seemed to leave open is we're going to dare KCP and Michael Porter Jr. to shoot the ball. Okay.
Yep.
He's a vet. He's, been in these type of situations. He's a shooter. So it's okay, I'm just going to get back to the basics. This is a get back to the basics game. If he sees one of, the first 2 shots fall, that puts a wrench in their game plan because it's we did not expect that. So it's going to be on him to knock down early shots early. I think that they're going to find them early. So I think KCP is going to eat.
Woo. Man, I'm going to go with Aaron Gordon here, Mr. Nugget. Wow. And the reason is I think that every game, Christian Brown at practice on Saturday said that this series has had more adjustments than any of the ones that he's been in. And I think some of that has to do with Gobert missed game 2. When you get blowouts, you get major adjustments.
They might just not have made any adjustments throughout the Lakers series.
It is honestly probably, but I just think that every decision these teams make to counteract each other has these trickle down effects. The last one, not letting Jokic get switched on to Gobert, just fighting through that at all costs. That one allowed Gobert to stay connected to Aaron Gordon. I think tonight's game is largely, from an X's and O standpoint, largely about that. I think Denver looked at the tape and said, okay, here's how we're going to counter that. And one of the best ways, and if you are able to find something there, the trickle-down effect will be Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
On top of that, I just think he is one of the most trustworthy, dirty work guys you have on this team. If you said, hey, we just need everyone to play ugly, who has the best game? Aaron Gordon's high on the list.
Ironically, the prettiest guy on the team.
but he can do ugly stuff on the court, and I think tonight's going to call for that. So I'm going to go with him. But it's interesting to me that none of us took Jamal.
Well, I didn't do it because I don't want to jinx it. I actually
Can
think,
I give the case for Jamal to eat
please.
tonight?
I mean, I think it's there for sure, but I just didn't want to say it.
He had 2 days off in between Game 6 and Game 7.
That's big.
That's where the case starts. What happened the last time he had multiple days off in between games?
Game 3 was good.
Game 3 against the Timberwolves. So we watched him in practice yesterday. He was the last guy on the practice court, getting up a lot of shots, a lot of threes, a lot of floaters. I did see him shaking his elbow out like once or twice, but he seemed good. Like, he seemed very healthy. He seemed ready. And the 2 days off, I've got to think he's going to look way better tonight than he did in Game 6.
I think this is I do not think this is the biggest game of the Jokic era. When you win a title, everything leading up to the title is bigger. So this is secondary, but it's obviously still enormous. But I think this is the biggest game of Jamal's career. Because previously, when they were down 3-1, Jamal had incredible games. 50-piece in Game 1, 45 or something in Game 4. Like, he's had major games. It wasn't everybody looking at Jamal. This series, and really this entire playoffs, everyone's looking at Jamal. I think he has more pressure than ever.
He definitely
but I also
does.
think that's when he's at his best. And if not tonight, everything flips. But I actually do think he has a good game. I don't think he eats tonight, but I think he has a good game.
Yeah, you want to talk about like confidence? He was the most relaxed I've seen him all year after that last game, and he played horrible. So for him to, just be banged up in different ways, like he's had leg injuries, he's had his elbow that kept. He didn't get down on himself. He joked. He was in a happy mood, and they said the last 2 days he's been locked in. And then what Harrison said, he gets 2 days off. So he comes in rested. He comes in with that chip on his shoulder, and he has to make up. And that's the type of competitor that he is I got y'all. So I do think that we get a monster Jamal game.
Let's move our attention now and talk about some of the concerns tonight. We're going to start with the negative but end with the positive. Some concerns. Well, first of all, they're coming off a blowout loss. If that game was a narrow loss or something like that, I think everybody would be like, it's Game 7, you're at home, what have you. But Denver's coming off a butt-whooping in the last game. How much of a factor is that into this one?
Not a factor, actually, for me.
Zero factor.
Zero. This is what happened after Game 2.
It's true.
It's like, this is a weird series. I feel like you can throw that out a little bit just because of how the series is gone. I'm not worried that it was a blowout.
Yeah, I don't look at that blowout. There's been multiple blowouts.
Yep.
It's about what team adjusts and also what team makes shots. Like, they've been having the same type of routine. They've been doing the exact same. Shots did not fall. But them getting blown out, I don't think either team has the upper hand in those type of situations. I just think that this is the only game that matters. So step up to it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just proven over time and time again that momentum in the playoffs is a complete myth. It doesn't exist. Every game is its own game.
Yeah.
And, the Timberwolves are coming in like that. The Nuggets were engaged in that last game for like maybe half, and it just didn't go well. So they were like, whatever. So they got destroyed, but they also withdrew emotionally pretty early on in that game. I just think that the Nuggets have the Ball Arena crowd behind them tonight, and I actually think that means something. I think that that's actually going to be a pretty big factor, even though it didn't prove to be in either of the first 2 games. This is like a less of a party vibe and more like a let's get this, let's do this.
What about Murray and Porter struggling? And let's just start with Porter, Dev. He struggled against a very physical Heat team. Now he's struggling against a physical Minnesota team. Could it be just that, hey, maybe some series are a Porter series, some series are not?
No, not in this one, because he's missing shots that he makes more often than not. Like, he's a sniper, and he's just been missing shots. So you just go back to the tape, and also having this many bad games in a row, for 1, the blowout, and then 2, not playing well. I think you dig deep and you say, you know what, I'm going to find a way to help the team. I'm going to find a way to get it back. And also, it's the thing that I'm best at. If they're going to dare me to shoot, I'm going to shoot the piss out of it. I hope they go in with the same mindset of just leave Mike open, because I do think that he's going to make them pay.
Yeah, man, get the piss out the ball, please.
A Porter quarter in the first quarter would be the greatest recipe for this game.
Oh my God!
A Porter quarter right out the bat. It changes everything. Like, if he's on fire, Minnesota has to blink. You can't just be like, well, it worked for 6 games, so we're just not going to guard. Like, nope, that would make him blink.
Especially as the game tightens up. like we think this will in classic Game 7 fashion, the first quarter, second quarter, I feel like that's when he's going to have to eat.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he'll hit a big shot late, but I've got to think that fourth quarter is going to be about Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. If he gets going in the first quarter, that will get his confidence up. That's going to be huge for him tonight.
What about the physicality? Games 2 and 6 were very physical, but this is a Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, games 2 and 6 were absurd. They were absurd. And again, that's the calling card of that specific
Mark Davis?
referee. Yeah, like of that crew. We already got...
We got one Scott Foster game.
Scott Foster. We got a Foster game, and it went well for us.
Yeah, I mean,
did.
Scott Foster calls a lot of fouls compared to
Yeah,
a lot
well,
of refs.
compared to the crew that calls no fouls.
But it is a Game 7.
Yeah, but like, I mean, come on, like that level of physicality that we saw in Game 2 and Game 6 were like what is this?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get that in Game 7.
Well, let's go to some reason for optimism here. Draymond Green made this point on his podcast, and I actually think it's very appropriate.
Big new media guy over here.
The Wolves made
Are you
the
subscribed?
when a team wins, the losing team has to make the adjustment. The winning team, you don't want to make adjustments because
Right.
you just won. You go to it. So Denver gets the chance to make the final adjustment in this one, which means Minnesota has to react to however Denver handles their own adjustment. I actually think that does give Denver a little bit of an advantage tonight, just because I think Minnesota has, they're going to have to stick to the same game plan.
Absolutely. And, you go back to the adjustments the Nuggets made coming out of Game 2. Denver looked like a completely different team, in Games 3 and 4 than they looked like in Games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have looked closer to that in Game 2 if Rudy Gobert played and their whole game plan didn't get thrown off. Michael Malone, by now, he's an elite playoff adjuster. He adjusts great as series go along. He usually knows right when the breaking point of a series is and when he needs to put in those adjustments. So I've got to think Denver's got some stuff up their sleeve tonight. I got to think they're prepared. I got to think the Nuggets coaching staff has some counters in the bag for what Minnesota's been throwing at them.
What about this one, Dev? Jamal Murray's best game in the playoffs so far, probably Game 5 against the Lakers. I think he had 14 in the first quarter, then had a strong fourth quarter to close it out. Maybe it was Game 3, but I would probably go with Game 5. That was a closeout game. I mean, there is something too. Murray is, as much as we like him to be consistent all through the regular season and through the playoffs, he, to this point, has come through in the biggest moments.
Every single time. He is a playoff riser, but also big moments, a little bit more. We've seen him have a bad playoffs. But when your back is against the wall, he seems to dig deeper than any other player that we've seen, especially in a Nuggets uniform. He gets up for those type of situations. He gets up for those games, and I think it's the idea of my team truly does need me that like he gets up for. Jokic is the one for this team, but Jamal is just as important, especially in these type of games. I think that this is a monster Jamal game. I do.
And then the last reason for optimism, Jokic. Biggest game of the season, biggest challenge maybe of his playoffs, in this little group here. But it's Jokic, and I really do fully expect a masterpiece from him.
I mean, it's hard not to. You just, whenever one is required, he delivers. Like, no one is more consistent and has been more consistent as a sports figure that I have cheered for and looked upon and put all of my emotional eggs in their basket. Like, he's so singular in the way that you can think about him. Like, it's not even a question as to whether or not he's going to show up tonight. It's just what level of destruction will he be administering to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then who is going to come along with them. Like, it's if he gets one other guy, and mercifully if it's Jamal Murray, like, that's a wrap. That's it. If it's just him, then things get a little bit more dicey. Then you can start getting a little bit more nervous. But if one guy decides to come along, Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, KCP, Aaron Gordon, any of these guys start to come along for the ride, it's a wrap, because Jokic is it. Like, you just know. You can set your watch to it.
All right, let's open up the Bet365 Never Ordinary app, and let's make a couple bets on this one, as if it needed more juice.
Yeah, I can't feel anything unless I bet on a game like this.
What do we got, Dev?
Our nerves are nerves. But it's time.
Let's go.
Denver opens this game as a 4.5 point favorite.
Stay up, parade.
And I just feel like you should just favor either team by like minus 20. 4.5 just doesn't make sense. If you think the Nuggets are going to win, take 4.5.
Yeah.
If you think that Minnesota's going to win, take minus 20.
And get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and don't watch again.
Shut up.
I'm going to stay away. I just want to watch. I can't.
You can't.
I already know.
You just can't.
Everybody wants him to win.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bet on it.
just
We just want it to win. The over/under very low in this game.
Yep.
Very low. I was actually watching like highlights of like the last game 7 Denver was in against Utah. The score was like they combined for like 160 points. It was so wild. These game 7s like they matter. You got to play defense. Besides that Pacers game today, that was wild. I couldn't expect that.
Wow.
I'm gonna go over 199 though. That's just too low for me. I think it's too low. I think that they're gonna allow open shooters to take open shots for both teams. McDaniels knocked down shots. It's Michael Porter Jr. and KCP's time to open up the shots. I like the over.
Damn.
For Minnesota side of things, I'm gonna go with Mike Conley over 16.5 points plus assist. Why not?
I can tell you why not. It's a terrible omen.
My bad. Second one, let's not waste anybody's time. Everybody know who the guy is over there. Edwards over 28.5 points. This is an eye-opener game for him. He
Take the
has
under.
like his
Take the
legacy.
under.
His legacy's on the line for this one. He can shock the world. Just imagine what the narratives are going to be if they win.
It's like his 4th year in the league.
I know, he's like barely out of
legacy.
college.
Let them win. Let them win. Watch what they call him.
Oh my God.
So I'll go over 28.5. I hope he has a good game and they still like get blown out. I
Take
would love
the under.
that.
Take the under.
For Denver desperately needs Michael Porter Jr. to get this thing right. He will have the ability, as Minnesota is going to allow everybody to shoot. They're allowing them to shoot. Just how disrespectful is that? Oh, somebody actually has a conversation of, this is disrespectful. So his over/under 2.5 3-pointers plus money, plus 100. We've never saw something like that. We would take that every single time. We're going to take it tonight. Plus 100 over 2.5 3-pointers. Let's get it in. Let's also go over KCP 1.5 threes.
Wow.
As you can see, I'm expecting the Wolves to have the exact same game plan that they had. Let the shooters shoot. Let the other pieces try to beat us. They had open looks and didn't knock them down. That changes tonight. KCP over 1.5 3-pointers. Let's go with Aaron Gordon over points, rebounds, and assists at 25. He needs to do it all for Denver today. You have to leave it all on the floor. There's going to be a lot of attention on the other guys. He's going to have to knock down mid-range shots. He's going to have to knock down a 3 to try to open things up. But you have to put pressure on Gobert so that you can get him out of there. So I do think he's going to be active and try to get them in foul trouble. He has to stay out of foul trouble. I like over 25 points, rebounds, and assists. I like Jokic over 8.5 assists. Everybody knows that the double team is coming, and he understands that. He will score, but there's also making the right plays, and he does that more often than not. He doesn't want to shoot through double teams. I do think we'll see a little bit more. But the difference in the last game, no one made shots. You make shots, he's going to have like 14, 15 assists. I think people make shots in this one. Also, he's going to be so aggressive that they're going to have to send the double team late. I like over 8.5 assists. I'm going to go also stay there with Jokic over 21 rebounds and assists. The assists are going to come, but I also like the rebounds in this one.
Yeah.
He has to be a force on the board. They've been trying to take him out of that. He hasn't had a monster rebounding game. I think this is the one that we expected. I do think that we're going to see a locked-in Jokic. And for the lock, the lockiest of
Finally.
locks. I think this is a game where we get to see the real Jamal Murray.
Whoa! The lock!
Nuggets basketball is when Jamal is at his best. That's when it's the beautiful game. We haven't heard that in a long time.
Nuggets basketball?
That's Jamal. I mean, this is your best game. If you're a big-time player, you step up in big-time games, and he has been that. He has been a playoff riser. This is going to be the watch-along play of the game. It's at 19.5 points. He's going to score 19.5. Let's just lock it in. That's the one.
I love that Jamal Murray is the play along. Let's freaking go, baby. Jokic steals I kind of like as well. I just think his defense is going to be on point tonight. So
he's leading the playoffs in steals, or was a couple days ago.
So there you go. I think that's possible. All right, a couple super chats to hit. What do we got, Kale?
This is from Icy Hot These Knees. Last time MPJ played well, he sported a Canadian tuxedo. Bring back that vibe, Michael Denham Jr.
Michael Denham Jr.
From Cedric, got my Jokic jersey on, number 15. What up, Wind? What's up? And Dev, Jokic said he won't let anyone beat us in Game 7 again. This is our W to claim. One love, fellas.
Man, new tattoo just dropped.
Well, maybe I was just thinking maybe he's like getting like the bookends and thinking that the love would just naturally seep in towards the middle.
Yeah, sure. Ben Mack. May their minds be clear, their limbs swift and strong, and may their hearts be crowned with
fire.
Fire.
Let's go.
And that's it.
All right, we're going to do the watch along. We're heading over there.
May their blade chip and break.
Guys, you can hang out with us for another 2.5 hours.
And then the post-game show after that.
We're live on the watch
Hit the
along.
like button on the way out. We'll see you on the other side.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.